Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. I've been gone for a minute. I've been over on TikTok. But let's get into it. Books I read in January. I read 7 novels in the month of January. All YA. I kind of dove down the Throne of Glass rabbit hole. We will get to that later. First, Iron Flame, book 2 in the Fourth Wing series. Iron Flame was amazing. Whether you love or hate it, I loved it. Now, the whole Fourth Wing, thing that's been going on, it really has taken off. And I put off Iron Flame for a long time because Onyx Storm was coming out last month, and I wanted to read them back to back because I knew that it was a horrible end to Iron Flame. So, whether you like spicy novels or not, the story behind the Fourth Wing series is an amazing fantasy story. And Fourth Wing starts cheesy as hell. And it really grabbed you. And the drive of these characters are so good. That's why I really wanted to read it, and it's a great book. Then I read Throne of Glass, and I had this book on my TBR for so long. Throne of Glass was always sitting back there, and I'm like, okay, everyone keeps talking about it. I'm going to read it, and it was great. It's a great introductory book into this long series. It's like 8 books long or something. And it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. Then I just had to just keep going on the series. So I jumped into book 2. And that was fantastic. Book 2 just grabbed me. The book 2 in the Throne of Glass series was like every great YA book that I've ever read was just jammed into this book. And I read it in like 2 days. It was so good. Then I jumped into the collection of Throne of Glass novellas called Assassin's Blade. And it's kind of a prequel to all the rest of the timeline of the stories. And it's neat to get the little full stories of these things that have been dropped hint to hints through the first 2 Throne of Glass books. And I'm so glad that I did, because when I read book 3, Heir of Fire, it just goes off on a whole different tangent. Everything is just explodes out the gate. And if I had waited to read that collection of novellas, it just wouldn't have hit as hard as it did. Then I read Onyx Storm. This is the last book that I read of the month. And it was good and frustrating. It was a fantastic addition to the Fourth Wing story. The characters just went on a whole different arc. Everybody was insane. It was action-packed from start to finish. There was tons of sex. Everybody was just banging. That aside, the whole story was just a great fantasy elements to it that I just loved. And I loved the arcs. The way it ended with a dick punch, man. It ended in the middle of this massive scene. It practically ended in the middle of a conversation. And it took me days to process. And I was like, yeah. And then find out that she's not going to write another one for another 2 years at least. Because she decided to write another series. Thank you, George R. Martin in a skirt.